Do you think we can start now? It's just 4 o'clock sharp. I can see that there's somebody still joining. It is one of the Finnish students, so we'll wait for him. All right. It is my pleasure to warmly welcome all of you to this webinar. This is a very exciting afternoon for us teachers. We have been working within a Erasmus Plus project called CultSense, sensitizing young travelers to local cultures, for 2.5 years now. And this is again a possibility for us, to share information and to hear your experiences of mindful travel and, sensitized travel. And Lenia Marquez, who also came in and who said that, she didn't want to say anything today. She's the project leader of this project. And yes, there she is, the brain behind this. And we believe that education plays a major role when addressing the challenges of mobility. And we want to sensitize young travelers to become more sensitive towards local people when they are traveling. And this webinar is the second webinar in a series of 3. We had one webinar in January. It dealt with tools for teaching cultural sensitivity and was mainly aimed at teachers, how they could increase their knowledge about how to do this. Today, we meet and to hear students' experiences, how traveling with a sensitive mind. And on the 15th of March, we will have the third webinar, and it will deal with researching cultural awareness in tourism. So I warmly welcome all the speakers here today and also the audience. Professor Goretti Silva from IPVC in Portugal, she will be the moderator, and she will take over after we have heard the first presenters. I'm very pleased to introduce Eileen and Sara from NOVIA University of Applied Sciences, who will tell about their experiences here in Finland.
So hello everyone. I will start sharing the screen. So hello everybody once again. We prepared a small presentation about our experience as exchange students here in Finland. First, we want to introduce ourselves. So I'm Eileen and I'm Sara. We're both 23 years old. We're both from Munich in Germany, and I'm also half German and half Turkish, and I have Afghan roots. We are both studying international business at Landshut University of Applied Sciences in Germany, and here in Finland we are exchange students for a double degree in Turku, and it's our first mobility abroad, and we've been here since September until May. So we want to start with the topic that we like the most. We had international tutors. So each incoming student, each one of us was given a tutor, which helped us accommodate in the first weeks. Me, for example, I had a tutor who picked me up from the airport and got me my keys, had also a starter pack for me with a pillow and a blanket because I had nothing when I came. They also prepared like a Finnish food tasting for us. There you can see a couple of pictures. We tried the pirogues, which are like a kind of dough with rice and eggs inside. And at the bottom, you can see the rice pudding. They also went on a hike with us to a national park. And we also had like a bowling night. And we also had a trip to Helsinki. So a network that helped us the most was the Erasmus Student Network. It helped us to connect to lots of international students via student parties, like the welcome parties at the beginning of the semester or Christmas parties. We also had many activities like movie nights or come-togethers where we went to a cafe and just talked to each other. And a big thing for us was the Pirates of the Baltic Sea. It was like a cruise from Turku, from Finland to Sweden to Stockholm. And there we had students from Latvia, from Estonia, also many international students from France, from Spain, from Italy, and also many from Germany. And on that ship, we had like many activities like speed friending or like other activities like, you know, what students do. And we went to Stockholm, went there for like 5 hours, I think. We could walk through the city and look at Stockholm, and then we went back on the cruise to Turku. One of our favorite cultural highlights in Finland was the sauna. Since Finns really enjoy going to the sauna, we also did that. And these are my favorite pictures that I took. One in summer, in late summer, in September when we arrived, and on the right side in winter. And we also enjoyed ice bathing, and yeah, it was really great. So other differences we had here was at NOVIA University. It is more practical than in our home university. It's a smaller university and has less students. We also have the feeling that we have a better and near connection to our teachers. And what was really strange in the first moment for us is that you call the teachers here by the first name. And in Germany, you call the teachers with the highest title. What's also really impressive for us is that most of the students already started companies here. So they can apply the projects to their companies. And so in general, it's also less individual exams and more project and teamworks. So a couple of cultural differences that we noticed, which are our experience and do not apply to all Finns or all Germans, are that the Finns here value personal space and privacy more than in Germany, because in Germany they are more comfortable with like physical contact and touch. Finns also tend to be more reserved, whereas Germans are being more straightforward and more formal. And in Finland, we have like a more egalitarian perspective, whereas in Germany, we have this hierarchical view of authority. So, and now, lastly, we wanted to highlight what we like and appreciate the most while being abroad, or this experience in general, is to being independent. You're looking after yourself and you're chasing the challenges abroad. For us, especially, it's the first time being abroad for a longer time. And yeah, we feel really safe in Finland. We like the way of teaching, and there are lots of activities. And the student restaurants, we didn't mention them, but we have a lot here, so that's also different. And what was different or difficult for us was like the organization in an unknown country. Everybody knows when they are going to travel somewhere, they have to organize themselves. And so did we when we came here for a much longer period. We had to face like a new culture. And it was very hard for us to get in touch with Finnish students, because we are in this, we call it German bubble, because we are mostly with ourselves, and like the international students and the German students are mostly with themselves, and we don't interact as much with the Finnish students as we should. And the Finnish food was also very different for us, because we come from Germany, where we have like this multicultural food from every country. And here it's like more Finnish food. It's like more bland and not so many spices as we used in Germany or in our cultures. That's it. If you have any questions or something like that, feel free to tell us.
Thank you, Sarah and Aline. Good afternoon to all. As Maria said, I will be trying to moderate this session, although I don't think this needs much moderation. I think it will be a very nice conversation between us all and the sharing of experiences. Thank you. Your presentation was very clear and sharp. And I was looking at your slides, and your highlights were pointing out some of the positive aspects and some of the most difficult aspects you have to deal with. So we believe the Erasmus experience can be very enriching, and we believe, and it's believed since the beginning it was launched, to be an opportunity for students to mingle and to integrate within other cultures. And from your testimony, we see it was one of the most difficult aspects, actually, to integrate and relate with the locals. What was your strategy, if you have any, or if you were aware of that difficulty, and what strategies have you adopted to overcome this? Did you manage to actually feel integrated, or you still feel you haven't?
I would say we still haven't. Like, we're integrated as exchange students and international students, but we still don't have a lot of contact to Finnish students, which is also sad, kind of. But we came here, we are 6 students from the same university, and we came here like in this German bubble where you feel the most comfortable, and then it just went on like this. Yeah, so we haven't applied any strategies to that, unfortunately.
Okay. Also, you mentioned that one of the things that have somehow surprised you was the hierarchy and the way the teachers relate with the students in a more informal way, if we can say so. Because once you use the first name of somebody, you call somebody from the first name, you probably feel more acquainted, you feel more, related and familiar with. Isn't it a bit of a contradiction between, the academic context where you can call the teachers by their name, and then you go out and you feel the Finns are a bit distant and not so easy to relate with within the community?
So in the beginning, it was very strange and different for us, because as we said, in Germany, you call them by their highest title. And here in the beginning, we also did it like that, because we also talked to them with the highest title, and they were like, always, no, you can call me by my first name. It's no problem. It's no shame. I don't know if it's like a contradiction, but it was very unusual for us, and we had to get along with it for like a longer time. And now I feel like it's personally for me, it feels better, because I feel like I don't know, I feel more like I have a better connection with them, and I feel like it's more personal, and it feels like much better. I don't know how to say this, but it was like, now for us it's normal. Now it's no problem.
You feel comfortable with that way of doing things.
We have to like get along with it in Germany, because in Germany you can no longer call them by their first name. We have to get back to call them by their title.
Okay. Would you say that if more Germans would participate in an Erasmus program, in a few years' time, we could have a less structured German academic culture? Would Erasmus experiences influence the future of the German academic community? Because if you take home this vision in this way of doing things, which you like better than the one you are used to in Germany, would you believe the Erasmus experience could also be a mind-changing phenomenon, or not?
Mind-changing, yeah. Because it's like not just Erasmus, but like in conclusion, for every country or for everything you do, it's like you grow with it, and you learn a lot from this experience that you do with for us now with Erasmus.
I think it's also good to adapt to other countries' formalities, and not always like you are used to in your home country. So that's a nice thing here.
Thank you. The idea is that the Erasmus experience helps you to broaden up your horizons and go outside your box, your ordinary box. Yes. Thank you. I'll try, maybe, thank you, Sarah and Eileen. I will try to involve the other colleagues in the conversation, and then maybe we can come back afterwards with specific questions from other participants as well. Sorry. Thank you. Also from University of Girona, we have Julian and Blanca. And I will start with Julian or Julian. I don't know very well how to pronounce your name. So if you can help me introducing yourself and talking a little bit of your Erasmus experience, where you're from and where are you actually, University of Girona.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Jurien Veenstra and I'm 23 years old. I studied tourism management in the Netherlands, in Leeuwarden. And over the past 6 months, I lived in Girona and I studied as an exchange student at Universitat de Girona, the Faculty of Tourism. For me, the exchange period and traveling and living abroad is all about actively meeting divergent cultures and consequently putting your own norms and values into new perspectives. I found personally that the importance of having a conversation is that you should not be afraid to change your opinion or behavior. I try to be open-minded and have a very proactive approach. During the past 6 months, I met really fascinating people, for instance, via school, cycling, or while I was traveling to Barcelona, Madrid, or Porto. But also the local area around Girona was very nice to meet the local people. Furthermore, I met people from Italy, Germany, Turkey, Bangladesh, Canada, Ecuador, and so on. So literally people from all over the world. Finally, I want to say that it helped me to not seek for the comfort or people that think the same as you. As the girls said, over here in Girona, there was also a Dutch clan, and they were doing all the activities together. But I didn't want to join that clan because I was really interested in other persons, in other people, and other cultures, and that really helped me because now I have a lot of new friends and insights from people from all over the world. So the comfort zone was not really not really the zone where you will learn that much. So out of the comfort zone is the best zone if you will grow as an individual, I think.
Okay, sorry, you actually were mentioning something very interesting. You not only found yourself your own strategy to overcome that possibility of being in a cluster of from your own country. Were there any other students from Netherlands when you got to Girona?
Yeah, at first I met 5 or 6 other students, also from other faculties. And at the beginning, I realized that they were very attached to each other because they didn't know anybody at first. But I immediately thought by myself, okay, this is not what I want. I want to meet other people. I don't want to be in that group and do all activities together. I want to mingle with other people. So then I made the step to join other people and not from the Netherlands, because in the Netherlands I can meet these people and I want to gain new experience and different insights.
Yes, you're right. So you have put in place your own strategy, which is very interesting, and you mingled not only with the locals, Catalans, but also people from around the world, right?
Yeah, both. Exactly.
I would ask you, what was the most, I would say, different culture that you have been in contact with in Girona?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yes. What was the most different cultural aspect that you have been in contact with in Girona? And was it something that you have discovered as part of the local culture, or actually it was something that you were in contact because it was for people from other countries?
Well, the first thing that popped up in my mind is that when you meet people here in Spain, people like to be and to show affection in the form of, for instance, a kiss or a hug. And in the Netherlands, we are not really used to do that when you don't know each other that well. We give each other maybe a handshake, and maybe when you know somebody very well, you give each other a hug. So at first that really got my attention, because over here they love to show affection and kiss and hug each other all the time. But for me that was very unusual.
Yeah.
So that was
how did you react to that? Did you get used to it, or do you think you are still struggling with that, friendliness?
I was discussing it with my roommate, a girl from Cadiz, and she said, like, I can remember the first time I met you, when you entered the room and you give me a hand, and after 2 minutes you were already leaving the room, and said, like, that was so unpersonal. So, and I said to her, but for me it's normal, because I didn't know you. We came first to the house. I didn't want to occupy you the whole day. It was like, okay, I'm going to introduce myself, and then after 2 minutes I leave you alone, and at a later stage we talk further. And that was from my perspective, but she found it a bit weird, because she thought, like, okay, did I say something wrong, or did I say? So it was very nice to hear a couple months after how she thought about that situation and how I thought about it.
Yeah, true. So you were living a different perspective other than Eileen and Sarah. So you were facing a bit more distant society, and you were facing a more hugging and getting together society. So it was different challenges.
And also the high context in culture and the low context in culture, because in the Netherlands we are used to be very direct to each other. If something is bothering you, we say it immediately, and also with feedback we say it directly. And during the first classes, when I was asking a direct question to somebody, I could experience that somebody over here, they are not used to that, to approach people very direct like that. So that was for me also a thing, like, okay, I need to change maybe a little bit my way of giving feedback or saying things. That was also very interesting too.
Yes, totally, and very, very interesting. The respectful way you approach this matter. I will invite the colleague from University of Girona as well, Blanca, to join us. Hi, Blanca.
Hello, good afternoon.
I believe she has also a couple of slides to set the context of experience. So, Blanca, can you share your?
Okay, I will try to share.
Let's see if Blanca is the same experience or the same perspective about her experience in Girona.
Funny fact is that Blanca is now studying at my university in the Netherlands, and we had the same classes in Girona, so it was fun.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I'm really excited about what your experience are.
Okay, I think. Okay, I think it's working. Okay, so, well, hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Blanca, and today I'm going to be sharing a little bit about my Erasmus experience. So, basically, I will just explain to you some highlights of my experience by doing a brief introduction about myself, about the destination, the studies that I'm doing here, and a final conclusion. So first, so this is me. My name is Blanca. I'm 20 years old now, and I am an out student from La Universitat de Girona, and currently studying tourism management. So now for me, I've been living in the Netherlands for 1 month now. So it's not that a long period of time, but I hope my experience helps at least a little bit. And well, I love to travel and to read. So as I told you, I'm originally a student in UDG, which is the university from Girona, from tourism management. And now I am in Leeuwarden. So that's the capital of province of Friesland. And I'm studying in NHL Stenden, and more precisely in the hospitality management building. which I personally got impressed by. I found it very modern building. It's very different from the one we have in Girona, which is like more traditional, but both of them have their own charm. So basically here I'm studying Erasmus students. We do minors here. And these are like subjects that are not compulsory, so you can choose whatever you want. In my case, I'm doing one about hostmanship, another one that it's called room division. So by now, you can see in the picture, we are only 2 exchange students. It's Vivi from Finland and me. And I think it's such a pleasure to be able to be in a class with so many students from the Netherlands, like Dutch students, because I've seen that there are other colleagues that are also here now that in their classes, they are mostly exchange students. So I appreciate having this opportunity. And to conclude, I wanted to especially thank the LEO team, which is the Leeuwarden Exchange Organization, which is basically a group made out of exchange students for exchange students. And they are always organizing different activities, especially during the first days, to make us, to let us like know better each other. And also they showed us a lot of highlights of the Dutch culture. For example, we went skating. They showed us around. We did a lot of fun stuff, and we also had the opportunity to learn more about the Dutch culture. I also met a lot of people. It's been, for me, this experience is like, I'm very grateful and I'm loving it, but there is still a lot to discover, I think, because it's just been 1 month for me now. And that's basically it. If you have any question, I'm here to answer.
Thank you, Blanca. I'm sure in the end of this session, we will keep some minutes for question and answers from you guys, from the audience. So I'm sure there will be some questions. I also have some questions for you. And as you have mentioned, you are in the beginning of your experience. Only 1 month has gone since you arrived. So far, what was the biggest challenge that you had to adapt to as a foreign student, trying to integrate in the local community?
For me, at first, it was a little bit like weird, because it was like I had never like lived like on my own in a different country. So suddenly you realize that you, for example, they speak their own language, which is like normal, but you think, oh my God, I don't understand. Like, wow, you realize like all these little details that when you are in your own country, you don't even realize. So it's like the language, maybe you notice that I don't like to generalize, but it's true that the way they are, it's like slightly different from my country. So you have to accept it, be open-minded, and just try to enjoy the experience and adapt yourself. But I think it's the beautiful part of the experience, to see these little differences and try to adapt yourself.
Okay, thank you. Blanca, I had another question, which you already answered, which was, which advice would you give to students that are considering the possibility of involving in Erasmus experience? You already said, be open-minded. At least you gave a very good advice as well. Thank you for your contribution. I will try to involve also Caroline. And I believe Caroline is from Rotterdam.
Yes.
Erasmus University. Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm actually Polish and American, and I moved here 2 years ago to study at the Erasmus University.
And I did yourself a cultural puzzle.
Yes, I studied by far in 4 countries now, so I have a lot of experience in the international environment. And in the fall, I went to Rome in Italy, and it was quite a different experience, in my opinion. Especially comparing to the university in Rotterdam. It was very unorganized and unstructured at the university. I do believe it's part of their culture as well, that they're just very go with the flow kind of people. But I did encounter a lot of difficulties with that, since my classes weren't in a time schedule and everything was out of place. So I had quite a bit of issues, and I was supposed to stay actually longer, but then I came back a month earlier, since all of my exams didn't take place in physical form, or either projects or essays that I could send in. But besides the organizational part, I did enjoy Rome quite a bit. I study art and culture, by the way. And there I took courses in fashion studies, so it was quite broad and different from what I'm used to. But I was very interested in trying something new that's also relating to what I am interested in and what I'm currently studying. I did meet a lot of people from different countries, because my course there was also international. So everyone there was from various parts of the world, which was quite amazing to me. But I didn't get a chance to have a lot of Italian friends per se. Yeah, we only had around 4 students that were from Italy. So that was quite strange to me. But besides that, all of the other courses at the university were mainly in Italian, I believe. It was the Sapienza University of Rome, so it is the biggest university in Europe. So there was a lot of people. The campus was quite older than the one here in Rotterdam, because here we have a very modern campus, which I absolutely love. But there it was quite a different pace, and I also really enjoyed it, because it was something that I'm not used to. But I got lost a couple of times, since it was way bigger than the one here. Yes, and the way I met people was through the Erasmus Student Network, and also there's a Erasmus Rome Association, which is similar but a little bit different, and all of them organize parties and trips for students to involve themselves in. Also sightseeing tours around the city and museum visits. So it was a lot of things to do, and I did join quite a few of them, and I've met people from all around, which was very, very beneficial for me, I believe. I did travel around Italy as well. I went to Naples and Florence, and I even went to Malta, which was quite nearby. And we had the discount from Erasmus University, the Erasmus Association Network for the flights. So it was, quite nice to go there and visit a different country, so nearby as well. And yes, I'm not sure what else to say. Maybe anyone has any questions.
Well, I'll join you in your description, trying to highlight a little bit of what you just mentioned. It was very interesting. You have used the word unorganized, which is a very polite way of putting. Thank you for that, because Latins are a bit more unorganized, in the sense they are less structured. Their agendas and their way of living, as you said, is more go with the flow. Sometimes we feel a bit in Southern Europe, Portugal included, we feel a bit more into that perspective. But it was very nice for you using the word unorganized instead of disorganized. Thank you. Shows your cultural sensitiveness as a whole. Actually, as all participants have already demonstrated in your choice of words is very not being a purposeful choice. You use words that demonstrate your cultural sensitiveness, one of the aspects that you believe are really relevant. So 2 things I would like to bring to your contribution is, you've mentioned you have been involved in the art and culture course, international course, right? So was this course, has this course somehow introduced to you this cultural sensitiveness and these aspects that we are approaching within the CultSense project?
Yes, it has. I study arts and culture here at the University of Rotterdam. It has, we have a various amount of courses that bring a lot of different subjects to our attention. So I would say that the course did help me with my open-mindedness and mindfulness when discovering new places. I also did my internship with CultSense in the spring, so that also opened up my open mindfulness. But also my mom is the person who always brought it to my attention to be mindful when meeting new people, when experiencing new cultures, when traveling. And the two of us traveled to quite a bit of places. So for me, it comes quite naturally. So I don't really think I had to learn it at this stage of my life. I just kind of knew it from when I was young even. And it just always goes with me. So whenever I arrived in Rome, I, even though that some parts of it weren't really to what I'm used to what I know, I still try to find the best in everything and try to make everything work. And be open-minded to the culture that I am currently in and not close myself off and think that, oh, everything is horrible. Yeah.
So you are the right person to help me with these thoughts. That is, higher education institutions, universities, and the school in general can be a good contribution. It's a good place where people can develop or reinforce their skills in terms of cultural sensitiveness, but also the family. You mentioned the family. Your family was, let's say, the most decisive factor contributing to your openness, right? So I do understand that. But going back to school, going back to the CultSense project in which you have been cooperating with, you know the project, you know what we are aiming at, and we are aiming at creating more opportunities for within the courses for the students to gain these, gain contact and be in contact with and open their minds towards cultural sensitiveness. So do you believe the results of CultSense can have a very decisive impact on the courses and on the universities and on the students, those who don't have such a great background as you do, based on your family experiences?
You mean that if that CultSense plays a role within the universities? Okay. Is that the
CultSense approach, in the sense what CultSense aims at, which is creating modules and tools that can be used and introduced within tourism, culture, leisure courses, and maybe in all kinds of courses that can help the students and citizens in general to be more open-minded and be more culturally aware and culturally sensitive.
Yes, I do believe so, because a lot of the student life, we go to school when we're 5 years old, and then we move forward until we're around the age of 18. And most people, if they don't have the possibility to travel and experience things for themselves, they do get most of their education, their values, and how they see the world from the things that they do learn at schools, in the academics later at the university level as well. I think that implementing open-mindedness and showing various approaches to different parts of our lives is quite, it also varies for every person, of course, but I do think that is very beneficial, and it helps grow no matter the age as well. And even within the academics, it doesn't strictly have to do with arts and culture, but for instance, when reading texts from authors from various parts of the world, it's also nice to know their background, their history, how their culture implements what they're trying to give back to the world. So yes, I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you for the contribution to the project while you were working with us, and thank you for also your thoughts here in this webinar. Now I'll move home. Actually, I'll move to IPVC team and involve also Jordina and Pedro in the conversation. I'll start maybe with Jordina, which is not Portuguese, by the way, so she will explain a little bit of her and her experience.
Hey, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah, okay. So my name is Jordina and I'm from Spain. I was studying from September to July in IPVC, Instituto Politécnico de Viana do Castelo, last year. I'm studying tourism management here in Spain, and well, I was doing my Erasmus experience there. Actually, it was great, and I really enjoyed it every morning, like every minute and every month I spend there. Actually, right now my sister is doing the Erasmus right there, so this you can understand that I really enjoy it. And yeah, so I feel like it's really important to. Well, as all of you were saying that it's really important to adapt to the culture that you are visiting and stuff. So I really believe in that. I think that it's really easy to get a group from your country, group of friends of your country. Actually, at the beginning, when I arrived in Viana do Castelo, I thought that, I didn't met anyone before that was doing an Erasmus, not only there, like in general. And so I thought that people use it to meet like the locals. So like your friends will be the locals. But when I arrived there, I saw that the Erasmus people goes together and then like the locals go apart from you. But I didn't really like it that way, because I feel that the experience goes better when you are adapted in the place you are. So, I mean, I did a lot of friends from Erasmus students as well, that they were from Italy, from Poland, from all over the world. But also, like, I take advantage that I was living in a Portuguese residence. So I could make like a lot of friends from Portugal, from Brazil, that lived in Portugal. And so I think it's really important for us to adapt and to try to understand the culture, not only like to live there, also like to know their feelings, and also try to improve your the language in that case. That it was like one subject that I wanted to do. And so I don't know, I think that for us as we are students and we haven't had like a lot of experience traveling all over the world, it's really easy to get a group of friends from your country. But yeah, as I said, I think it's really interesting to adapt and to understand also that for me, well, I always thought that the only thing that makes all of us equal is that we are different. And so that's really important for me, because I mean, you can have so many different ways to do the things in all over the countries around the world. But I mean, if you understand why this culture does the things that way, so I don't know, I feel you enjoy more your stay.
Yes, thank you. I think you are trying to say that you understand that you should appreciate life a bit more if you get into these experiences. You learn how to appreciate a bit more of what comes towards you and appreciate the difference. Like kept from your testimony, you said we are all different. The only thing we have in common is that we are all different, which is very interesting as well. Your thought. Jordina, I didn't have the chance to have you as my student, and I regret that, because I've heard a lot about you, and how interesting it would be to have you in this webinar. And now I understand totally. My colleagues who mentioned you as being an example, and I totally agree. You are also an example of something that we have already mentioned in a CultSense output that people listening can find in CultSense website, which is the CultSense case studies. One of the case studies that is actually about Erasmus students' experiences. One of the Erasmus students I met once as a professor was from Italy, and he had a bit like you. He was influenced by his brother's experience, and you influenced your sister's experience. So you are already an influencer in terms of talking about your experience and influencing others to take part in the Erasmus mobility in general, and in the same place that you have been in particular, which brings me to the topic that Erasmus students are often ambassadors for the local communities, for the destinations, for the hosting communities, for the places that are hosting them as students. When they go back, they often work as ambassadors, and they are giving the very best contribution with word of mouth about their experiences. So you must have said nice things about Vienna to influence your sister to come over as well. So what were the, let's say, 2 or 3 aspects that were most interesting for you from your experience in Vienna that were actually impacting your sister's decision to come over as well?
All right. So first of all, the university, I think it was like really friendly. And I don't know the other universities around the world, but my university in Spain, it's not like that. And it's like you are a number, or you are like just any teacher knows your name, basically, like only if you send many emails a week during the week, but no, in general, no. Yeah, I think the university was like, yeah, so friendly, and also like the subjects were like quite more practical than they are in Spain. So I could like improve my mind in that way. Like I could learn a lot. And then like also, well, Viana do Castelo is like really close to the sea, and this makes able to make so many plans, and the sunsets there are incredible. So that's one of the things that I don't know, I love them more from Vienna actually. But also the people, I feel that in the beginning is quite complicated because, okay, I understand like not everyone has really good level of English. And also like it's, you don't know how to speak Portuguese in that case, and they don't know how to speak Spanish, most of them. And so, first of all, the language is like one of the clues that can be like more difficult to speak with people. But then when you manage the way to speak Portuñol or any like way to make to speak with them, then it's like really easy. People like they have similar culture from Spain, like not the same because there's many differences as well, but we have like really similar mind in that case, and I think that thing makes your experience easier, that it's really close from your country as well, and also like they are as I said, really similar from Spain, from Spanish.
Okay, very interesting. You mentioned obviously the sunsets are wonderful around here, so I hope lots of students can hear and get the will to come over and stay with us, which makes us happy, and are all very welcome. But you mentioned something that similar minds. Probably this was one of the things that attracted you, as opposed to some of your colleagues that are together here in this webinar, that said the difference and the fact that I could join and be in contact with people from all over the world and different from myself was the attracting idea behind I remember Eugene saying that, and other students as well. So this is sometimes is the difference, sometimes is the similarities that attracts you to these experiences, which is we are all motivated by different reasons, and that is also something we need to understand when we consider cultural experiences. Thank you, Jordina. We might go back to you within the answering question period. I will bring Pedro now, the Portuguese. That someone that you might have been in contact with when you were in Vienna, or might not, because Pedro is also traveling around the world. Pedro.
Hello, everyone. So I did 4 international experiences with IPVC. 3 of them in Europe, 1 of them studying in Italy, and was the worst one because I went after COVID in 2020, and I spent there 2 months. Then everything was closed, and I had to come back again. So I didn't enjoy Italy the way I wanted to, but I will come back maybe later. So in Spain, I spent 3 months with Mariana. She's also in here with us today. Doing an internship, and was a great experience. Also in Malaga, and recently in USA, in Florida and North Carolina. The thing I really like with these experiences are to meet new people, to understand the culture. For example, in Spain and Italy, I didn't felt like any issues because we are similar, like Jordina just said, like we have the same, not languages, but we can understand easily. And USA was a totally different story because everything is so different from Europe. The way they see life, the way they don't care about the environment, the lights on all the time, the garbage, they don't make the separation of like in Portugal we do, like we separate everything. They don't care about that. In the highways, I don't know how to say como é que se diz, tipo ultrapassar.
To overcome those.
Yeah, overcome. We have to overcome just by the left side. In USA, you can go everywhere. Like you don't have like the traffic speed limit, so it's confusing. And I didn't want to drive there. So, but yeah, the people they are also different. They just like the things like we heard in Europe about America. I think they are true because we are more. It's not intelligent, but they don't care about nothing. They just go party, shopping, workaholics, and repeat. In here, I think we have more quality of time. I really miss this. Like in Portugal, we like to go to the sun and drink a coffee with friends or beer. And in America, you don't have that kind of things. So more things I can say. The best part was the friends I made. Like I have friends from all the places in the world, Australia and Japan, Russia, everywhere. And I think is the best part, to understand the differences, the cultural differences, why people behave in that ways. And we just have to respect, because, for example, my country, I think we have a very, it's not a whole mentality, but something like that. Like with now we have a lot of Brazilian people coming into Portugal to work, and you can see like people saying, "Oh, because they come here and they steal our jobs," and. But I think we need everyone. Like we don't have people to work, for example, because we have like just 10 million people, and yeah, I think we should be more open to everyone because we need everyone. And yeah, I don't know.
Okay, thank you, Pedro. I would just like to join you, maybe reflecting a bit about what you mentioned, that it doesn't mean that because you felt a bit uncomfortable in the US, it means that everybody would feel uncomfortable, obviously. And the US are such a huge country that you probably have been dealing with a very narrow part of what Americans are. Mm-hmm. Your experience is very specific of your own for yourself. So we absolutely respect the American culture in general. There are so many positive aspects that you could and surely have been in contact with. So I do understand that some aspects that are less valued that you mentioned in some places, some communities, environmental awareness could be still in an initial stage, with, as you mentioned, and that made you feel uncomfortable with. So, but there are other aspects that are different, social, religion aspects that can be different from our own beliefs and norms and make us feel uncomfortable. Not meaning that they are better or worse than our own beliefs; they are just different. So,
the examples that I have is, for example, the lights, they are on all the time, everywhere, day or night, they don't care. the Garish
but
things.
probably this is also because, as I said, their priorities in terms of rules and values in the society are positioned in a different direction. So environmental awareness is still in the lower stages of development over there. But going back to your experience in different places of the world, so which was, let's say, the most positive aspect that you have taken from your Erasmus experience? Because you keep coming back, you kept going back to one place or another and traveling around the world. So what was the most, if you have to mention only one aspect, which was the most positive aspect that you have taken from your Erasmus mobility in general?
I will have to say people.
People, being in contact with people.
Yeah. I
Great.
think, yeah.
So one advice, we'd ask all of you if you want to share, whoever from the group wants to share, what advice. I believe there are some students watching and participating in this webinar at the moment. If not now, the webinar will be made available possibly in social media afterwards. So they will have the chance to see you and go over your contributions and testimonies. So if any of you or all of you would like to give a very, very brief final thought about your suggestion and advice to students considering or still fighting with the idea of going on Erasmus mobility, why should they go?
Can I start?
Yeah, sure.
I really like the part what Pedro said about engaging with different cultures. My advice will be communicate and talk with people. And probably some of you already read this book, but I would recommend the book Culture Map of Aaron Meyer. It really helped me to get more insights in different cultures and why specific persons behave like they behave. So Culture Map of Aaron Meyer, that would be my recommendation.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other thoughts or suggestions for why they go?
Yeah, I will add on to that, is to meet people in the country that you're going to, in the culture that you're going to be visiting. Because the people, for me especially, is what makes the place that specific place. Either the local people or even international people, they help you with the adaptation there. You discover things together. You go visit things, the museums, for instance, the sightseeing places. Well, also another thing very important is to learn the language, even just a little bit. It doesn't have to be fluent, of course, but even just the basics of going to the store or ordering something at a restaurant, to showing the people your appreciation for their culture and the fact that you are keen on learning and being open-minded is very well respected. Because, for instance, in Italy, a lot of people don't speak English very well or at all. So even just the basics or a little bit here and there will totally change your entire experience.
Okay, I was just leaving for less the colleagues from Romania, but because I might be out of time if I go around everybody with this suggestion, can I bring in colleagues from CBU, Belina and Mihaela?
Yeah, may I add just something? The fact that you meet a lot of people. Do you hear me?
Mihaela, can you say where you're from? And
yes, I'm Mihaela. I'm from Moldova and I'm currently studying in Romania. And it wasn't a big shock for me moving to Italy because I already changed one country. What I wanted to add is that the fact that you meet people from different countries makes you more sensitive to what's happening in the world. Yes.
So what, Mihaela, was as it was culturally similar, the context Moldova and Romania, still.
Yes, they were quite similar, so it wasn't very different.
Why was this the reason for you to choose to go to CBU instead of somewhere else?
Yes, because our countries are very similar and we speak the same language. That's why I chose CBU. Yeah.
You prefer to stay in a more comfortable, similar place where
Yes.
you have many cultural challenges, let's say?
Also, I've chosen Sibiu because it has more Western influences, and also I've chosen Italy to make this move from the comfort zone to being more extrovert, I think.
Did you have the opportunity to when you enrolled in this mobility program, you surely had some ideas, some perceptions before, and did you find the same ideas, or did your perceptions actually gain certainties when you were there? What you were expecting to find was actually what you found, or were there any differences in terms of perception and experience?
Yes, I wanted to have a kind of eat, pray, love experience, and I think I had it. I ate pizza. I don't know how Italians eat pizza and pasta and don't get don't gain weight. It's still something curious for me. Also, I had a lot of stereotypes before going to Italy, and now I don't have them. And I think that this is quite surprising. It's part of knowing more cultures. Your stereotype here, and this is the best thing. Also, I had the chance to interact also with Italian students because in our courses we had a lot of international students, but also Italian students. And what can I say? They are very hardworking. I might say more hardworking than the Eastern European students. Also, I have.
It's interesting because we have different perspectives. Caroline had a different perspective about Italians, easygoing, slow pace, and you are sharing a different view based on your own experience.
Yes, I can say that they are hardworking, but they're also unorganized. I mean, the system mostly, not the people in general, but the system, I think.
Okay, thank you. Mihaela, also your colleague, I don't know if Velina is also joining.
Yes, I am here. Yes, I am here.
Hi, Velina.
Hello. So I would like to start first. I was an exchange student from Bulgaria. I was enrolled in the Erasmus mobility, and I went to Sibiu, the Lucian Blaga University. The reason I chose it is mainly due to research that I did. I had options and I leveled them all. I checked all the information that was available on the internet, and I found the most compatible with my specialty that I'm currently studying, which is accounting, to be CBO. And then I did a cultural checkup on the city, where it is, how does it look, and then I chose it because I was already set on going somewhere for the first semester, and this was a very good choice for me. I went there and I wasn't disappointed, not for a moment. And as an advice for people who would like to join this is to not wait for a reason to join. You won't get a reason out of nowhere. You create your own reason. If you want, you can always go. And to be patient during the process, you have to be really patient during it, because even if there are holdups, even if you don't receive an immediate response from the emails or similar issues, you just have to be patient. Work is getting done and it will get done. I would like to receive any questions if you have, because that was my reason to choose the city.
You mentioned something that you did a cultural checkup before you
Yes.
chosen.
Yes.
Probably you had other destinations in mind. And did you do?
Well,
did you have, or was this the only destination you have considered?
Well, first I needed to filter through because, again, for my specialty, there weren't so many options. But I had options like Germany, Romania, and Italy, and I leveled them through. And I just stick with Romania, and I chose the city Sibiu.
Okay. Can I ask you which cultural aspects within your checkup were the most, I would say, relevant?
I guess none of them ended up being relevant because the cultural factors that I encountered there were coming from the people directly. They weren't written somewhere on the internet.
Okay.
They were so authentic, deep in the people. They were almost historical. And when I got to talk to them, I started learning them one by one because I went there. I thought I was all prepared for everything, and I learned everything. And I went there, and the people just amazed me. And they showed me how much wasn't shown on the internet.
Right. So that's one aspect that probably can be affecting all the other students' decisions. That can I find information related with the place that I'm looking at, or is this information available? And you mentioned there wasn't available information about the aspects you actually encountered in place, but there were other practical informations available. As you said, you have been doing a cultural checkup, so
Yes.
you haven't found enough information, but
Yes,
you still decided to go.
Yes, of course, because I was set on going. Actually, my mom motivated me to do so. It was sort of a challenge between us two. She said, here, she literally placed the flyer because it was on a flyer from my university. And she was like, here is your opportunity. You have to take it. And I was a little bit set back at first. And she was like, well, you always wanted to prove that you can manage on your own. This is your opportunity. And it's even in a different country. So I took it. That's how it happened, actually.
Very well. I'm sure it is an unforgettable experience. I will like to go. We are about to reach our target time, but I would like to give the opportunity for other participants to ask some questions or to ask a few questions to the panel, the students. I'm not sure. I can ask help from our technical support if there are any questions coming in, or if people would like to join now with some questions. Okay, there are no questions in terms. I think you have been all very clear, and we have been exploring most of the aspects people would consider. So that's a good point. And so I would give Lenia the opportunity to say a few words now in the end as project coordinator in our BOSS, let's say, during BOSS. Lenia, please, you can have the floor.
I am not anybody's boss. I hope I am a colleague and a fellow learner and also a fellow Erasmus. So we are all in this mobility family. Some did it many years ago and others are doing it now. And we hope that people who are listening to us and who will be maybe watching the video later on will also be involved and inspired by all these exchanges. I would like to thank everybody for their participation. It was very inspiring to see so many different approaches. I mean, there are things like language, cultural differences, but also cultural similarities. If we hear you, it's all about each one of us is of course an individual, and we have our own backgrounds. When we travel, and sometimes even traveling around the corner in your own places, we can find new things. It's very challenging to go abroad, like some of you said, especially for people who have not traveled much before or who is the first time living on their own. So you are all very brave in doing that. And it is possible. You prove it's possible. And not everything has to be perfect. Not even like in Eat, Pray, Love. Sometimes things go wrong or they don't go according to the expectations. But it's an amazing process, and we learn from all of that. You also mentioned something that I think is quite important for us also to reflect, and maybe for you and also as future ambassadors or ambassadors already of Erasmus mobilities, is about how can we facilitate these mechanisms for people to know others better, especially if they want to know. I mean, Julian said he had to make that step. We know it's sometimes overwhelming, but can we help other people to make that step? And locals, we're still debating what local is. I wonder, with so many international experiences, the international is also a local in a way, so we can raise the question. So with that thought in mind, and knowing that you have a whole life of other exchanges ahead of you, thank you so much. And thank you, Goretti and Maria and the Cathedra and Sylvia Olet for organizing this with Mireia and Sylvia Grau.
Thank you, Lenia, for being such an inspiring leader and taking this project forward. And I think we can wrap up our webinar if no further questions have arisen, which I believe haven't. So thank you all participants for taking part, for their contributions, for their testimonials. As Lenia said, you were very brave for going on Erasmus and also for being here, sharing your thoughts. And sometimes it's very personal, which we thank. Thank you, Girona University, for organizing and for broadcasting this. And thank you, the entire team, Maria, for your contribution in this organization. Thank you all. I will leave you with the idea of another webinar taking place on the 15th of March with another topic, interesting for sure. So we look forward to welcome you. Bye-bye.